Hello, I'm Beth. This yoga practice is going to be for those who are on their feet all day. So if you work as a server in hospitality and construction, whatever job you do, if you're on your feet a lot, or if you're on your feet a lot just in the normal course of your day, this might be helpful. We're going to stretch out those tired feet. We're also going to stretch out the muscles of the lower body and the back. So we'll hopefully leave you feeling a little bit more energized after this routine. Okay, so you'll need a few things. First, you'll need to be near a wall for this, and then you'll need a small rolled blanket or rolled towel, and optionally, you'll need a small ball. I like this child's pinky ball. You can also use a tennis ball. If you don't have a ball, that's okay too. I'll show you another option. So we're going to start in a version of child's pose. So you'll turn toward your mat, toes together, knees apart to the extent that's comfortable to you. Now, some people like their knees closer together for support under their body. Some people like them wider to reach their body. You might want to take your roll towel, place it on top of your ankles, a little bit of something to press your hips and your bottom back toward. And then start walking your hands. Slowly start reaching your hands out while pushing your hips back toward your heels. Your hips don't have to touch your heels, but we're trying to move our hips back in that direction. Now you have a few options for your arms here. You can stay extended with your arms and let your chest, your heart, your head melt to the floor. You can also cross the arms and let the arms be a little pillow for your head. And you might find this position feels really nice because it gives some rounding to the back and helps start to stretch the lower back that might get tight. Make sure you have space under your nose to breathe in and out of your nose. So whatever space you need, again, you can build this up higher. You can even have your arms resting on a chair. Simple, comfortable breathing here, and we'll breathe together for about 3 more breaths. After your next exhale, come up a little bit on your hands, not all the way, so you're still in a little bit of crouch. And you're going to weave one arm, so this is my right arm, under the left and bring the same cheek as arm, so my right cheek down to the ground. This is a little twisted version of child's pose. Now, if your head doesn't comfortably reach the ground, you can keep it up in the air as long as that feels comfortable. Or you can have a pillow or something else. I can even rest it a little bit on my opposite fist for a little support. We're just trying to twist the upper back. That's another area that can get surprisingly tight from standing all day. Allow your breathing to be comfortable. So no special breath here. Allow it to be as comfortable as possible. Maybe putting a little bit more emphasis on the exhale. And you might find that it helps to sigh it out. Breathe in through the nose. All right, let's go to the other side. Push yourself up on your hands a little bit again, and then take your opposite arm. So my left arm is going to weave under my right. My left cheek now is going to come to the floor as I turn away from you. And your right hand can just adjust where you are in this pose. Remember, it's okay to be up or even to have your head on a little cushion or pillow. One more breath here. And help yourself back up to your hands and knees. If you were using the towel, you can take it away for now. We're going to come to all fours position, so hands on the mat, knees under the hips, and we're going to have our toes tucked. So as we do these stretches, we're really going to try to target the feet a little bit and open up the feet. So we're going to do a cat-cow stretch. Cat is simply rounding your back up into an angry cat shape. And then for cow pose, you let the spine sink toward the ground, the chest move toward the ground, the elbows stay straight or straight-ish as your chest comes forward, your head tucks up a little bit. We go through that a few times. This is a basic spinal warm-up. Go at your own pace through these two poses. So when we're on our feet a lot, the back can start to feel constricted. For many of us, it's the lower back in particular, so we're going to be targeting that area, but any area of the back. This can feel good on the shoulders. Take one or two more at your own pace, and if they want to move around a little bit, if you want that to be a little bit more of a free-form motion, go ahead and do that. It doesn't have to stay the traditional cat-cowish shape. I'm going to do one more cat and one more cow, really letting especially the chest be loose. And then come back to your tabletop, which is your neutral back shape. With your toes tucked, we're going to start walking our heels back toward the knees. Now you might want to check and see that all of your toes are tucked, even the little toes. That's kind of tough to get those little toes underneath as much as possible. So at some point you're going to start feeling a lot of stretch in your toes. Right now, since I've done this before, I don't feel a lot, so I'm going to continue walking my hands up. And you may be able to come up so that you're sitting toward your heels. If you've never done this before, this might be super painful and you might think, no way. In that case, take pressure off your feet by coming forward onto your hands. Or you can also come to upright knees. That'll also take some pressure off your toes as well. If it feels okay, see if you can stay here for another few breaths. We're going to try to tolerate it for a little bit longer. Of course, if it ever feels too much, we're looking for a good stretch. Hurts so good, not hurts so bad. So if it feels sharp or stinging, please do come out of it before I say. One more breath here. All right, then gradually come forward back onto your hands and knees and very gently untuck your toes and give them a few little taps. Really gentle here. We're going to stretch the toes the other way. You'll need your towel again. So we'll put the towel on the mat, basically where our feet are. And then this time the tops of your feet are going to go on top of the towel. So really the tops of your toes, because that's the area we're trying to target with our foot. And then the exact same thing here. We walk the hands in slowly enough so that you can find that Goldilocks place. If you're okay here, you can walk in a little more. Oh, I feel this direction a little bit more, and you may feel too. One side might be easy, the other direction might be harder. So again, I can loosen up or remove some of that tension by coming up any amount. A little bit is going to relieve it a little bit. Coming up to upright knees is going to relieve a lot of the tension while still getting a stretch. So again, it's the Goldilocks for you. And you can also come onto your hands. Wherever you are, find a position where you can stay for another breath or two. All right, let's come forward. Move the towel away. We'll come to any comfortable seated position. And this is something that hopefully will feel a little bit more good after those toe stretches. We're going to do a little bit of a self-toe massage or self-foot massage. You just get in there with your thumbs. Massage the mound of your big toe along the arches, your heels, if your heels need a little love. And then you're going to take one hand. You can either come opposite hand or you can come over the top of the foot, whatever feels better for you. And we're going to weave our fingers in between our toes. Give it a little help there. And really try to get them in there. It might be hard. Your toes might not want to spread, so use your other hand to help get them a little more spready. Give yourself a little handshake and wiggle them around a little more. All right, then we'll do the other side. Take your second foot, again, give it a little massage first, and obviously you can stay longer in this foot massage if you need more. Make sure you get the big toe mound and all the mounds, the mound of all the toes, and then the heel and the arches especially. And then once again, I like doing the opposite hand, but I'll show you if you do the same hand, it would come right over top, but it's the same thing. You're weaving your fingers in between your toes. And then you can still use the opposite hand to help get your fingers in there. Where, oh, the little toe didn't want to get in on the action, so I got to get my finger in there. Once you have the fingers in there, move them around gently. So depending on how tight your feet are, whether you've ever done this before, again, this might feel too much sensation. Back off from too much sensation. Search for that Goldilocks, that perfect middle ground level where you're getting something, but it's not moving into sharpness or pain. All right. Now, if you don't have a ball, you'll do that for a little longer. Massage your feet a little longer. Really enjoy it. If you have a ball, we're going to come up to standing with the ball. Now you can use your wall for balance here. This is not a balance exercise. We're going to take the ball under one foot, start on whatever foot you'd like, and simply press the ball down under the ball of your foot. Let gravity help you push your weight into that and lean yourself into a little bit. That's why I like to use the wall for balance. And then roll the ball back so it's a little bit on the middle of the foot. That might feel a little more tender. Come back to the heel, give it a good press and maybe even a little bit of a kind of grounding the heel into the ground. And then we'll go forward and back. So massaging the ball along the entire foot, the inner arch, the middle, the outer arch, a few horizontal side to side. And if there's any place you're finding that feels particularly sticky for you, stay on that place. You might scrunch all of your toes over the ball and then open your toes and release. Or there might be another place, oh, that feels like a little place. And you can either be still and press into it, or you can take a little movement in any direction. You can twist side to side, vertical. One more little bit. All right, we'll come off the ball. Take a moment to feel your 2 feet. Now you might notice that the foot that you've worked feels like it's kind of able to spread on the floor, that it just feels more suction to the floor. That's good. Let's do the other. We start somewhere with the ball around the ball of the foot, pressing into it to the extent that feels tolerable and a little bit beyond comfortable. So there might be a little bit of uncomfortable sensation. That's normal. Again, pain is when it feels sharp or stinging. It feels really localized to a specific spot. Come back a little. This might be more tender, so a little less pressure, gravity might be warranted. And then back to your heel. Back and forth a few times, front to back to front. Exploring the inside, the middle, the outer edge. A few side to side, zigzag action. And take a moment to go back to any area that needs it, maybe gripping your toes over the ball. Maybe finding another place. My heel on this foot always needs a little more love. More little bit. Ooh, there's another spot there. Okay, and then you can come off the ball. You can let that go out of the way. We'll use it again a little bit later. Ooh, let both feet suction to the floor, really sink. Try to feel the entire circumference of the whole outside line of your feet pressing evenly into the ground in your mountain pose. That's your strong standing pose. Okay, we're going to turn to the wall now. And you might want to be about a foot, 2 feet from the wall. We can adjust this. We're going to step 1 foot. You can choose any foot to start so that the toes and the ball of the foot are against the wall. I'm going to have a little micro bend in my front knee. I'm going to step my back foot back further so that I can keep the back heel down. And rather than let this leg bend, I want to be lifting the back thigh away from me, pressing the back heel to the floor to get more of a stretch in the calf of my back leg. And then I'm stretching the shin of my front leg. So you can straighten the front leg, but again, have that little micro bend. And then you might choose to hinge forward, creasing right at the hips as you come forward. You have the wall here to help you. You may notice as you hinge forward, you'll get more of a stretch in the front hamstring. So a lot going on for those tired legs in this pyramid pose at the wall. Now you can definitely adjust this. You can step the back leg back even further. You can walk your hands further down the wall. You can get more of an upper body stretch by taking your arms up into kind of a down dog arm shape. So find a shape here at the wall that helps you get the best jackpot stretch, the best bang for your buck in this shape. And take your hands down if they were up, hop your back foot in, take the other foot to meet it, stand for a moment in your mountain pose, once again feeling any differences that show up for you. And then we'll take the opposite foot to the wall. Remember that you find the ball of the foot. If you have a baseboard like I do, the ball of your foot is going to be right toward the top of the baseboard. And I'm hopping my back foot back a few times to try to find the place that feels the best for me. My hips stay forward, so the back leg is going to want to take that back hip with you. Let the hips stay forward in order to isolate the stretch a little bit more in the legs. Press that back heel into the ground. Now you can keep the heel down and bend the back leg a little bit. It's not going to go much, but you'll get a different type of calf stretch there. And then in order to get the stretch more into your hamstring, you can start to take a forward hinge. At some point your head might hit the wall. It's okay to just rest your head on the wall. You can also create a little more space by stepping back further. And remember, you can place your hands anywhere on the wall from about chest height to further up if you want to stretch the shoulders a little bit more. One last breath in this pyramid pose at the wall. And then again, I'm going to walk my hands down, do a little hop of my back foot, take both of my feet in. Last standing pose, we'll turn around and we're going to let our butt come right to the wall. Feet are maybe about a foot out. You can have them about hip width or wider if you'd like. So we're going to do a standing forward fold. That forward fold comes right from the crease of our hips. I'm going to start to fold. As I fold, my butt is going to stay on the wall, but I can feel my tailbone sliding up the wall as I come forward over the legs. I'm going to start about halfway. Give my hamstrings, which we just warmed up a little bit, a chance to get used to this. You'll see I'm keeping a little bend in my knees. So if this feels really tight already, stay here and let your body adjust to the stretch. You can also choose to widen your feet a little bit more, give more space for your body. And if your body's giving you room, you can slide your hands down, let your upper body hang with your bottom. Now it's going to be more of all the way at the tip of your tail, hanging down. And you can take a ragdoll with bent arms. You can let your arms just hang down this way. If the hands are close to the floor, you can touch the floor, but it's absolutely not the goal to touch the floor. The goal is to really get a hanging from our hips. Let the head hang, give it a few shakes. So letting the upper body simply hang from the hips and the pelvis. And again, allow your breath to be comfortable, to nourish you in this pose.
breathing in and out through the nose, or you might breathe in and sigh it out. And if that tension starts to build too much in your hamstrings, give the legs a little bit more of a bend so you can stay in this pose another breath or two. And when you're ready, walk your hands up. You can use that wall behind you to let yourself roll all the way up to standing. Take a moment in case you feel lightheaded. You have the support of the wall here. And then we're coming back down to the floor. So coming back down to kneeling, here's where you'll either need your ball or your small towel, or if you don't have either, we can play with that too. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little stretch for the calf muscles. Again, we've already warmed them up, but we're going to get into them a little more. I'll show you with each type of prop. The ball is going to be the most intense. So the ball will go right in the meat of the calf muscle, and then just like you did before on your toes, you'll sit back, adjusting how much you sit back, so stay more up if it starts to come too intense. Once you find a good bit of, ooh, hurts so good, you can wiggle around and search for that. So same thing with the blanket roll or towel. Put that right on your calf. It's a little less intense, so I might be able to sit back further here, but then I can kind of move around and get this massage. That feels good, a little bit less of a hurt so good, and just really feels good. And then the last option is actually to tuck your opposite foot behind the calf. This one can be a little more tricky to get into. If you're able to get into it, you can move around and use your foot to provide that own massage. So hopefully you've already found what works for you on this side and are doing it. All right, and then we will switch to the other side. So let's see, I think the towel felt best to me, so I'm going to use the towel. I'll sit back. I can sit back more with the towel, and you can adjust. The closer to the crease of your knee is probably going to provide more sensation. So if you need to move the ball up or down, just come back to your knees, your hands and your knees, and do that. We're moving the muscles around. You might be able to feel the muscles and the tendons all kind of move under your motion, under your prop. All right, we're done with that, and we're actually done with the ball. You can set that aside. Your towel you might want to have nearby for your head in our last couple of poses, which are going to be lying on the ground facing the wall. So we'll come to lying, and I would say have your toes near the wall. You might want to scooch forward or back once you get down on your back. We are going to have the feet on the wall so that you form about a 90-degree angle with your legs to start. And then we're going to take one ankle over the other. Now, I can use my feet to help me in here. There are a couple of different ways to do this. If that feels too tight, simply raise your opposite leg and then cross your legs. And this is a nice way to get into this figure 4 shape or reclined pigeon, because you can adjust the foot on the wall, and that will adjust the intensity that you'll feel on this outer hip. So notice how if you move the foot higher, that will reduce some of the intensity. Move it lower, that will increase. You can also do a little scooch of your bottom closer to the wall if you need a little bit more increase. You can take the same hand as bent leg, gently place that hand on the thigh, not shoving the thigh, but just encouraging this leg, this femur, the top of your leg in your hip joint to externally rotate. And that movement can really help relieve some stress, some tension in our hips. Tension in our hips can go all the way into our lower back. If you'd like, you can even come in and out a little bit, and feel free, again, to use your hand to help with that motion. And continue your breath. Hold for a few more moments. And then we'll switch sides. So bring your first foot back to the wall, bend your second foot. Remember to walk the straight leg or the bent knee foot a little further up if you need to help you get that ankle on top of your knee. And then you can either stay there if you're feeling enough sensation on the outer side of your hip and glute, that's the area we're targeting, or you can slide your foot down. You can also scoot your bottom a little closer. That's a little more challenging to do. Once you get to the point, it's always fine to stay in stillness. That can feel really nice as you sink into the stretch. Or you can choose a little bit of movement. It looks like the knee is moving, and it actually is, but the movement, the origin of the movement is here in the hip joint. That's where we want to focus our attention. We don't want any pain in the knee at all. Never want any pain in the knee joint. So if you feel that, take less of a bend into your knee, straighten more so that there's no pain there. All right, it will be a few more breaths on this side. And then our last pose, we're in a little bit of inversion. We're going to rest with our legs or our feet higher than our hips, our heart. And there are a few ways to do this. So one is to stay right here in this position. Another is to stretch your legs out straight. Maybe the tops of your feet or maybe just the heels rest on the wall. And this might feel really good after all the movements we did with your legs. Your feet are elevated higher than your hips and your heart. You can also have your knees bent and have the calves on a chair or a couch, if you have a chair or a couch or a bed nearby. And then I'm going to show you one last way. If you already found your comfort way, go to that and stay. I'll show you one last option. It's called legs up the wall. And actually, I'll show you legs up the wall without the wall, because you can simply take both legs up. And if it's comfortable for you to hold your legs over your hips, they can be more bent than this. This elevates your feet a little bit more, and it can feel wonderful for tired feet and legs. But if it's too tiring to keep your feet in this position, because you have to have a little muscular action, we can use the wall. So you do have to come up first if you want to do that. To do legs up the wall, you really have to scooch your hip right up toward the wall, pretty close to the wall. And then it's a little trick movement of I'm going to swing my legs up as I lean back. So once you do it a few times, you'll get to know it. But with my hip really close to the wall, take that little swingy motion. My bottom stays pretty close to the wall. And now I can relax my legs. I don't really have to do a lot of muscle action because my feet are being held there by the wall. You can relax your hands, either resting on your body and feeling your breath under your hands, or you can place them anywhere out to the side in a V. If you want to continue to stretch your chest a little bit, you can have a cactus or goalpost arms. If you have your little towel nearby, you can also place it under your head so that you tilt your chin a little bit closer to your chest. That actually induces a relaxation response. Last thing we're going to do here is I'll lead you through a little bit of a guided breath. We're going to extend the exhale a little longer than the inhale. So first we'll count, I'm going to count to 2, we'll count in 2, out 2. Whatever your pace, you just slow down your counting to match the pace of your breath. So this is going to be it for me. It's in 2, out 2. Breathing through your nose if possible. In 2, out 2. One more 2, 2. Next time, again, breathe in 2, and then out 2, 3. Same thing, in 2, out 2, 3. Last in 2, out 3.
Last round, in 2, out 4. In 2, out 2, 3, 4. In 2, out 2, 3, 4. One more if you're doing it with me. Now you can stay in this version of rest as long as you like. If you're ready to come down with me, bend your knees, roll yourself to one side, use your hands to slowly arrive back at a seated position. So I hope that this practice stretched out the parts of your body that do get tight or worn from an all-day standing position. If you'd like to actually do something while you're at work, I have a whole series of things you can try for short breaks at work. You can also try another longer video to stretch the hips. That might feel really useful too. If you like this, please subscribe. Let me know that you did, or give me a thumbs up. Comment below to tell me what you liked, what you want to see more of. Thank you so much for joining me today.